Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Are you ready to live an inspired life? Welcome to the Inspired and Empowered Living TV show on W4WN.com and Talk4TV.com. And we're live Tuesday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern. And you can tune in by tuning in to Talk4TV.com if you want to view and go into view live. And then you can go into the chat room and communicate with me live. And I love to hear your questions and comments. Today, we are going to be talking about how to transform your trauma to create an inspired and empowered life. Learn what trauma really is and how it affects you, and discover the essential keys to transforming your trauma so that you can live an inspired and empowered life. You'll learn 3 principles on how to transform your trauma and discover the patterns that are showing up in your life now, and the number one mistake that would keep you from a life you love. And I'm your host, Nanci Deutsch, licensed clinical social worker for over 30 years and intuitive breakthrough expert, also a certified hypnotherapist. So I have had a lot of experience dealing with trauma. I can tell you that I've had personal experience dealing with trauma. I, from a very young age, had a lot of trauma in my childhood. And what I got to see was how the traumatic patterns continued into adulthood and how those patterns were affecting me. And now I can tell you that I am so grateful that I have healed so much of those traumatic patterns, the anxiety, the depression, the post-traumatic stress disorder, and that I use my intuitive skills and abilities, my counseling, my coaching, to really transform women's lives, to help you become more successful in your personal and professional life. And so today, as we talk about trauma, some of you may not even realize that you have been traumatized. What's happened very often is when I work with women, as we're talking, they discover that they have had trauma and they didn't even realize it. And I want to say good morning thank you for joining, Marie. Love you. And I want to really remind all of you that trauma can happen. It can happen from physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, even religious abuse. And trauma can happen from the death of a loved one, whether you're in childhood or whether you're older. Grief sometimes shuts us down and we go into this trauma experience. So that could be traumatizing. I know for me that when my parents passed away, it was really traumatic for me. I remember before they passed, I didn't even want to go there. I didn't even want to think of them leaving because I couldn't even imagine my life without them. And so when they passed, and they passed within 5 months of each other, and that's a very short window. And so it was intense. And so know that your trauma can be on many different levels. I also feel that trauma from COVID, many of us have had traumatic experiences and reactions to COVID, and that you may need to heal that. Now, and this is something that I mentioned last week, is that your trauma from COVID may be from present time or it may be from your past. And so know that wherever your trauma comes from, whether it's your past and or something that has recently happened from adulthood, you can heal. And that is one thing that I really want to let you know, is how much you can heal. And I want to just go over trauma and what really a simple definition of it, just to review some of the things that we talked about last week. So, what is trauma? Trauma, and this is from the website camh.ca. It's an organization in Canada. But I love the way they described the definition of trauma. It made it very simple and easy. Trauma is the lasting emotional response from living through a distressful event. Experiencing a traumatic event can harm a person's sense of safety, sense of self, and the ability to regulate emotions and navigate relationships. Long after the event occurs, people with trauma can often feel shame, helplessness, powerlessness, and intense fear. And this definition is so, so true, because so many of the times when I'm working with a client, I need to help them feel safe. Safety is priority, because you can't help someone move forward in their life. Whether you're a coach or a counselor, a healer, they need to feel safe enough, or you need to help them feel safe enough to allow themselves to even go to the traumatic experience. So a lot of the healing that you may end up doing, whether you're having your own healing or you're a coach, healer, or therapist, is helping someone to feel safe, giving them the resources, the capabilities, the confidence to feel safe enough so that they can handle the trauma even before you go into it. Now, I wasn't expecting to share that, but obviously I ask for whatever information needs to be shared. And so if any of you have any questions in the chat room or anything that you'd like to share, please allow yourself to ask any questions at all. So last show, we talked about the three principles, and the first principle was having the three A's. And I talked about the three A's being how trauma shows up in your life today is awareness of when the trauma is showing up. Now, sometimes you're not even aware, sometimes you're not even sure how it's going to show up. So I'm going to give you examples. For example, I have a client, and Dorothy is someone who had major fear of doctors. And she wouldn't even make doctor's appointments. And she knew she needed to make doctor's appointments, but she had that white coat syndrome. And so what happened was as we worked on her trauma, and her trauma was from her childhood, she had a lot of messages about health issues and about doctors. And we started healing those traumatic experiences. And as we healed those traumatic experiences, Dorothy became more better able to have to deal with calling a doctor and making an appointment and taking care of her health in present time. So that is an example of how it can show up. If you notice that you have a fear or a concern and you're like, where is this coming from? What? Like fear of heights, fear of driving over bridges, fear of going on planes, fear of traveling. Clients have all those different fears, and you may have those fears, and those fears, anxiety, panic attacks, anxiety, panic, and depression, most often, majority of the time, if not all of it, are coming from some kind of post-traumatic stress reaction, PTSD. And so then when you notice that you're having, excuse me, anxiety, excuse me, my allergies. When you're having anxiety, when you're feeling depressed, when you're going through something, good morning, Allie. When you're going through something and you're saying to yourself, this feels so hard, and you don't know why it's feeling so challenging. Because for other people, you may think this may be easier for other people. Why am I having such a hard time? That's when the awareness comes in. And even if you're experiencing an event that has been traumatic or really hard for you, like something that really, like, for example, when we were all going through COVID, or even the death of a loved one or a beloved pet, when you're going through that and having that awareness that you need to allow yourself to grieve in present time, but part of the grief and part of the stuff may be from the past. So it's learning to have that awareness and just really being loving and compassionate to yourself. And all that is awareness. And the next A is acknowledgement, and acknowledging that you've had trauma, or acknowledging that this is hard and that you need to give yourself that love and compassion so that it inspires you to be able to move forward. We all have challenging times, and I really want you all to know that you're not alone. Every single one of us, and even people that are out there and they're really, they appear to be doing well or they are doing well, doesn't mean they haven't had challenging experiences. And I will share, even me, yes, I'm all about living an inspired and empowered life. And it doesn't mean that I don't have present challenges. And it also means that I need to have that awareness and that acknowledgement in order to keep working on healing. And then the third A is really about that acceptance and compassion, and really having that acceptance and compassion and that self-love for you. And that is crucial. So that is all part of the first principle, the three A's: awareness, acknowledgement, acceptance, and compassion. Now, the second A, the second principle, is all about clearing. And it's about clearing daily and clearing on deeper levels. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, very often when you wake up in the morning and you're in a challenging time, You may not wake up in the best frame of mind. You may be challenged. You may not be getting out of bed like, woo, the day's beginning. You may be get out of bed and say, uh-oh, another day. And I remember years ago when I was in the midst of healing and clearing the deeper levels of my trauma, I would wake up and I could feel the fear in my body. It was intense fear. And it was so hard to get out of bed in the morning. But I continued to move through my day and do whatever I needed to do in order to keep moving and going forward. So know that, and you may wake up and you may say, okay, or maybe you're grumpy or in a bad mood. So that's where the daily clearing comes in. And when you have the daily clearing, you can do things like exercise, yoga, meditation, journaling. Any of those things will help you to do those daily clearings. And if any of you want to type in the chat what you do on the daily basis to do your daily clearing, that would be great. I know some of you like to go for walks in nature, or maybe it's doing the meditation. Maybe you need to do the exercise before you do the meditation. I know some clients have to get to the gym, and that's their way to get to really prepare themselves for the day ahead. So it's really about you finding your ways. And I'm saying ways because sometimes it's more than one way. You may have a day where you need more grounding. And so you may need to take a walk outside before you meditate. Or you may need to do some other kind of, maybe you need to do sound healing. Yes, sound healing. What is sound healing? It's listening to crystal bowls or Tibetan bowls. So you can go on YouTube and you can listen to the sounds. There's also Reiki music that you can listen to. So any of those possibilities. So Allie says, she wanted to say, I used to say an affirmation in the morning before getting up, but I need to go back to doing that. Thank you, Allie. I love that. That is a really great thing to remember. How about this affirmation? And here's the thing. Marie says journaling and meditation. Journaling and meditation. Thank you, Marie. And here's the thing. Saying an affirmation in the morning before you get out of bed. Like I know I had a friend, before he went to bed at night, he would say, I wake up feeling wide awake, alert, and healthy, or something along those lines. So what you can make up your own affirmation, one that works for you. So something like, I get out of bed and I intend to feel healthier and more alive and allow myself to receive the healing the universe has for me today. And that is something that just came to me. And so I really want you to know that the universe, you can even ask before you even get out of bed in the morning, you can say, thank you, universe, for all the miracles and the synchronicities that await me today. And I am open to receive these miracles and synchronicities and whatever healing you have for me today. So allow yourself to ask for help from the universe. You can do that first thing in the morning. And again, journaling and meditation, like each one of you, thank you for your input, because that really helps the viewers and the listeners to remember that journaling, and I'm going to report I'm going to remind, because I have talked about this before, but I love Julia Cameron, who wrote The Artist's Way. And she talked about the morning pages. And I've used the morning pages, and it's a great way to clear your energy in the morning. And it's 3 pages where you are just dumping, you're expressing, venting to that journal, and to that piece of paper, whatever you want to call it, so that you're just letting it out. And then once you do that, then maybe you can meditate or pray, or maybe you need to keep journaling or writing, whatever it is. Maybe you'll be inspired to do some kind of creation. Whatever it is, allow yourself to be guided by your intuition after you do the morning pages. And Marie says, I am grateful for another day when I wake up. I love that, Marie. Thank you. Thank you both for sharing. Thank you. And really, this is all about you finding your way to start the day in a positive way. And you may need to find different ways. And I also suggest that you make a list. Make a list of different ways that help you move forward, different ways that support you in clearing your energy on a daily basis. And now there's deeper ways, and the deeper healing comes. And sometimes you may not even know the thoughts or the beliefs or even the emotions that are under the surface that need to be cleared in order for you to have that deeper healing of the trauma. So, what I mean by that is you can go through the day and you can work on the daily clearing. But during the course of the day, you get triggered really easily. And there is a client that I work with, and Samantha would be going through the day. She would have to work on her daily clearing, feel better, and then all of a sudden during the course of the day, little things would trigger her. And she would start having big reactions to things that, there's a saying, making mountains out of molehills. And she would end up doing that. And so what would happen was we started exploring for Samantha, what was it that was triggering her? And even the daily events, the news, and would all trigger her. And so we started doing the deeper work, the healing. So if you need to reach out to a counselor or a therapist to do the deeper level healing, now you can go to a coach. Also, it all depends on what you want to do. And so with Samantha, we did the deeper healing so that when she goes through the course of a day, she doesn't have to be so triggered, and she kind of can let the things that used to trigger her so easily slide and breathe through it or count to 10. So the way that I define the difference between counseling and coaching, because how do you know? How do you know if you need to do counseling or coaching? So if you're having an experience where you really feel like you don't know how to move forward, you're feeling paralyzed by the fear, and the past trauma is really blocking you, and you're having trouble coping with your daily activities and your day-to-day events, you need counseling. And that's really a big sign. Now, if you are maybe in fear and you may feel stuck, but you're really looking forward or really wanting to change your abilities, you want to move forward and figure out the ways that you need to move forward, then you can really benefit from coaching. So the way that I really define the difference between them, because I do both and have done both, and really it's about really healing the past trauma to be more effective day to day. That's counseling. And to really, if you want to move forward in your life, that's coaching. And so, speaking of coaching, I am actually going to share with you. I am really, really excited. I am doing a free virtual masterclass. It actually starts tomorrow, Wednesday, October 19th. And even if you are not able to make it, definitely go on inspiredandempoweredliving.com/masterclass and sign up for the masterclass. And you can, and if you missed October's, then definitely email me. You can find out how to do that on inspiredandempoweredliving.com. But definitely sign up for the masterclass, because we are going to talk about how to move you forward in coaching you to create and move your business to the next levels, working with your intuition, harnessing the power of your intuition. So join us for the masterclass and go to inspired and empowered living.com/masterclass. And you can sign up and join us for that masterclass. Definitely join us. And I look forward to connecting with you and helping you to move forward and transform your business. And Carol says, such an important topic. Thank you, Nanci. And she says, me too. And my friends and I will be there. Yay, Carol, thank you. So join us for the masterclass, inspired and empowered living.com/masterclass. And if you're listening to the podcast at a later time and you want to find out more, definitely go on inspiredandempoweredliving.com and you'll find out when the next live event is. And so getting back to trauma, because that's what this is all about. It's really, and here's the thing, whether we're talking about counseling or whether we're talking about coaching. And that's what I'm doing now, is I'm actually combining my counseling, coaching, and intuitive abilities to really inspire women to move forward. And so whether you're talking about clearing the trauma either for now or to cope better. And the coping skills are really important, learning how to cope better. And I also want you to know that even if you are coping, you may want to go to a whole nother level of coping, because we are infinite beings. And the more that we heal ourselves on every level, the more that we clear our trauma, the more that we can go to the next levels, whether it's our business or our personal lives. It's about clearing and healing those deeper levels. And the deeper levels are usually, now I'm going to do my quick Psych 101, which is, it's the conscious mind. And thank you all for joining today. The conscious mind is you joining and coming and sharing, whether you're listening live or viewing live, or you're listening at a later date. Thank you for listening in. And your subconscious mind is the part of you from the moment that you were conceived to present time that has all the beliefs, all the memories from the time that you were conceived to present time that are stored in your subconscious mind. And that's where the limiting beliefs and emotions end up getting stored. And they get stored in your body, actually. And that's why I do the body centered work, because when we're working on the body level, you can help heal your trauma on the deeper levels. And I know Marie had a comment. Marie says the masterclass is fabulous. Highly recommend. Thank you, Marie. Thank you. So it's about really finding the deeper way. So, deeper ways, tools to heal that are emotional release work. And what I do in that body centered healing therapy that I've done for years. And I've had clients say that they've had years of therapy, and then they can have a major breakthrough in 20 minutes, in a half an hour, rather than those years of therapy. Now, I will also tell you that therapy, however you do it, is important. If you're just starting out, you may need that regular therapist. And so you need to trust your intuition, or who feels safe to you, who feels comfortable. You want to find, whether it's a counselor or a coach or a healer, you want to find a person who feels safe with you, safe to you. And that's what I was talking about earlier. It's finding that safe place so that you can allow yourself to do that deeper healing. And that's really, really important. And so I really encourage you to find those safe places for you. And I will also tell you from my own experience, it takes a village. It takes a village to help you to transform. We are not in this world floating alone. And if you feel alone, I am going to support you to reach out and make connections. We need connections. We need to feel that we belong. We need support in moving forward. And I have had therapy, I've had coaching, I've had healing. I have used so many different modalities, and I use so many modalities in order to transform the trauma. And that we all need that support. And you need supportive friends, you need supportive community. I'm grateful and blessed that I have that now. And I wouldn't be where I am now if I didn't have that supportive network. And so I want to encourage you to find, one person at a time, your support system. Reach out and make the connections. And that is really important for healing and transforming your trauma. Really important and crucial. And what I will tell you is, with trauma, you most of the time, if not all the time, we were traumatized by someone else or by others. Especially, I mean, there are times we're traumatized by events like COVID, which is a mass event, or war, or that kind of thing. You can be traumatized by mass events. And if you've been traumatized by individuals or by the family or by religious or institutions, schools or teachers, or, whatever it is, that trauma needs to be healed with others. I remember I was doing something called Peer years ago. It was a community, Peer Primary Energy Emotional Recovery. And it was a community of all of us who were doing body-centered work. And I remember the mentor, his name, John Lee, and he said, it isn't a shame that we were wounded by another, and we need others to heal that. And the whole concept of AA and the 12-step programs, I really is group community and helping each other form those connections. Support groups are huge in healing and helping. And know that could be very much a part of your support system to move you forward. And so I really want to encourage you. And for those of you that are listening live or you're listening at the recording, the podcast, please reach out. And I really feel that we need that help. We need that support. And so other ways to heal you on the deeper levels. And I'd love to hear how each of you, if you're aware of it, what do you do to heal on the deeper levels? What tools do you do to heal on the deeper levels? So, really, I'd love to hear what you do to heal on the deeper levels. So, other ways that you can process your feelings to clear. Remember, you want to clear on the daily levels and you want to clear on the deeper levels. And so you may do, like I work with clients to do hypnosis. Hypnosis is a powerful tool for healing trauma. Carol says, I love it. Carol says, I create a soul family, including you. Thank you, Carol. And that is really important. It is. It's about learning how to create a soul family. And it's finding those souls, those people that you feel connected to. So it's really allowing yourself to find your soul connections, because that will make a difference in your healing journey. We need each other. And so, and I know I'm so grateful for my soul family. So, yeah, thank you. And so it could be using hypnosis. Now, I've also been trained in EMDR, and a lot of therapists can use EMDR. Emotional, you know what? I'm not even going to try to figure out, because I totally forget the long version of EMDR. That's why they do the EMDR. It makes it shorter. And it's a way to clear trauma. So you may look for a therapist or a counselor that does EMDR or does hypnosis. There's also EFT, emotional freedom technique. That is another way to clear the trauma. There's all different kinds of body-centered therapies to heal the trauma. And so what I've done as a counselor, what I was doing was I combining a lot of the different modalities and also creating my own system through the years of all the different trainings and certifications I took. But all of it was a combination of using all the different tools to heal on those deeper levels. And that's what counts. And Marie says, my healing has been through helping others. I have helped myself with grief by supporting others who have been there and walked that walk. Thank you, Marie. That is beautiful. And it is so important for you to find a way to reach out and support somebody. Now, you may be able to do that. Now, it depends on where you are in your journey and your process. I think that if you're really stuck in your trauma, you may need that support before you can support others, or you may be able to. It really depends on where you are and who you are and what you need. So it's learning to just be guided by what's going to be there to support you. And Allie actually gave me, thank you. That is it, yes. EMDR, the long version of EMDR is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Thank you, Allie. Yes, that is the long version of EMDR. And what it does is it uses eye movement. It started with eye movements, and they do other sensory clearing by using that experience. But they started with the eye movements to help people clear trauma. And a lot of times they started with veterans, helping veterans clear trauma. So, and here's the thing. Again, this is finding your ways that help you. I'm naming a few tools to do the deeper level. And also, one of my favorites is doing the inner child work. But I combine the inner child work with other modalities. And other modalities like the hypnosis, EMDR, the emotion code, or EFT. I really do a lot of the inner child work. And the inner child is connecting to that little child, that little girl inside you, or if you're a man listening to this, that little boy inside you. And inside of us, we have that inner child that just is yearning to be heard and loved and connected. Marie says, absolutely. So definitely, I just really want to support you all in getting that deeper healing, deeper work. So the second principle, and I'm just going to review the first and the second now. The first principle are the 3 A's. And the 3 A's are that awareness that there's something that needs healing. The second A is acknowledging it and acknowledging that you need healing, or acknowledging your feelings, or acknowledging where you are. And the third A is that acceptance and compassion for yourself, and having the acceptance and compassion for yourself to move you to the next place, to help transform that trauma. That is the beginning. And the second principle is clearing the beliefs and the emotions, doing daily clearing and dueling. No, not doula. A doula is a birth, but maybe you're rebirthing a new self. I don't know. Sometimes my subconscious comes out with phrases. And so rebirthing that new self, you need to do the daily clearing and the deeper clearing. And when you want to rebirth that new self, do the daily and the deeper clearing, and using tools like hypnosis, EMDR, EFT, the emotion code. All of those are tools, the inner child work, body-centered therapy. All of those are deeper level tools to help you. And I want to just say thank you for joining. And we're going to talk about the third principle of transforming your trauma to create an inspired and empowered life next week. So join us for more inspired and empowered living. And remember, you can go to my masterclass. And my masterclass, we are going to do a deep dive. If you want to move your business to the next levels by harnessing the power of your intuition with the Intuition Business Advantage, you want to come to my masterclass. So you can go to inspired and let me say it slowly. Inspired and empoweredliving.com/masterclass. So join us, and I look forward to connecting with you more. And I wish you, and remember, you can find us on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern for more inspired and empowered living on W4WN.com, Talk4TV.com, and you can find past podcasts on iHeart, Spotify, Pandora, and Apple. And I wish you an inspired and empowered day and an inspired and empowered week. Have a great one, everybody. Goodbye for now.